Hi everyone, I'm here today with my May TBR. Before I dive deep into the May TBR, I want to have a look at how April went, as this is going to be impacting the TBR somewhat. So it turned out that April wasn't the best of months for me to start redoing TBRs, because halfway through the month, out of nowhere, and I mean out of nowhere, I was originally meant to be going back to work sometime in May. Out of nowhere, I found out that we were going back to work with literally less than 2 weeks notice, and that it wasn't even that, because it was 2 weeks notice to us opening up. I needed to do work before then to prep for the opening up. So within a couple of days of finding out we were going back early, I was already back at work full days and beyond. So along with doing online training, so I've been absolutely exhausted, to say the least, and didn't get very much reading done at all. I did finish 3 books in April though, and those were Things to Do Before the End of the World by Emily Barr. I filmed a review for this, so I'll leave that linked in the cards and also the description down below if you want to check that out and know more. But from just the basic purposes here, I gave that book 4 stars. Another book I finished in April was The Poet X by Elizabeth Acevedo. I also gave this one 4 stars. The final book I finished in April was Don't Touch My Hair by Emma Dabiri. I finished that literally this morning, but as I'm filming this, this is only Tuesday the 27th of April, so I have a few days of April left yet anyway. I just don't anticipate I'll probably finish anything. And I gave that 5 stars. Absolutely standout, must read. I also DNF'd a book in April, which is really bad news for the BookTube Bestie project. And that was Freshwater by Oweki Emezi, and I DNF'd this after trying to read it twice, or listen to as I was listening to the audiobook. So the first time I listened to the first chapter and then kind of didn't do any listening for like over a week. So I restarted it and listened to that first chapter again and still didn't really feel it. But I carried on anyway, and I kept listening and listening and listening. And I can't remember how far I get. You'd have to check out my reading vlog for that, which I'll leave again linked in the cards and also the description. But I know for a fact that it just wasn't going into my head. I don't know whether it's the sort of book that I need to read physically instead, like with my eyes, rather than listen to, because that does happen for me sometimes with fantasy and audiobooks. So yeah, it just wasn't for me in that format. I might give it a go again one day in the future, but it's definitely not a high priority. So because I am back at work for May especially, I don't know how my reading is going to go. So this month is going to be very much the month that helps show me how reading a normal life will resume for me, because it's getting back into that juggling act that will probably be the biggest challenge. So I've kept with the same sort of format as before. So there will be most months 10 Kindle books, 2 physical books, and then 4 audiobooks. I've tweaked that slightly for May, because with finishing no physical books and finishing 1 Kindle book, I wanted to throw some other variety in there. I mean, I am in the middle of a couple of other books I've been mood reading, so there are a couple of books that I am currently partway through, but I just wanted to give myself a bit more choice. So there are still 9 Kindle books from last month's TBR on this month's TBR. There are still the 2 physical books from last month, and there is 1 audiobook that is from last month. I'm going to throw in some bonus extra books along with 3 audiobooks. So first of all, I was just filming a video before this. You might have already watched this video where I talk about childhood reading. And I just had such an urge while holding this book up to just sit and read it all of a sudden. So I might do that this afternoon, or at least start it. And so I'm adding this to my TBR, even though it's not on my plans for this month's TBR, through that alone. Who knew? I'm going to go with the mood. The mood reading is continuing. The mood wants to read this. I don't even know if I ever read every single book in this collection, so every single story rather in this collection, so I'm gonna read this. It might even get finished before May. So onto the Kindle editions. The Kindle books that I'm adding to my TBR for this month are all NetGalley ones that are published in May. I figured if I was going to add a few different extra options, that they should be ones that are being published this month so I can catch up on the reviews. So first of all, we have A Stranger by Karen Perry. This is a domestic thriller, and this is a pen name. It's actually a combination of two Dublin-based authors. I've previously read their book Girl Unknown, which I gave 4 stars back in the day. So I've got high hopes for this one, and it's being published on the 13th of May. The second book is How to Save a Life by Eva Carter. This is a romance novel that starts with like an 18-year-old needing CPR, and it takes 20 minutes to save his life. This action leads to the 3 people involved in this. Basically, it says life and death changes course for those involved for the next 2 decades. I'm just really intrigued. This is being published on the 27th of May. The third one I have is the Boyband Murder Mystery by Ava Eldred, which looks like some sort of fun YA mystery. It seems to look at possibly like boy band fan culture, and this is being published on the 27th of May. So those are the 3 extras I'm adding. I will leave last month's TBR linked in the cards and also the description down below in case you wanted to see what other books I didn't get to last month that I'm hoping to get to this month. Meanwhile, audiobooks. So the one remaining from last month is Middle Game, because I can't even start that till tomorrow because Scrib's being an ass. So I'm locked out of even trying at that one until then. So the ones that I'm adding, I have one NetGalley one here, which is The One Great Gnome by Jeff Dinardo, which was published earlier this year. So this is a sweet middle grade fantasy that follows an 11-year-old that moves from New York to a rural location. And they make friends with a garden gnome and get drawn into a secret world. It just sounds just the sort of thing that I would have loved reading as a child. And so in audiobook format, this just really appealed to me. The next one could not be probably more opposite. So the next one is Gideon the Ninth by Tamsyn Muir. And well, I'm picking this up for the BookTube Bestie project, first of all. But secondly, this is a sci-fi fantasy with necromancy, lesbians, mystery, magic, blood and gore. And to say that I'm excited would be an understatement, because this sounds like something I could absolutely love, and wasn't necessarily something that was on my radar until I started looking more into the BookTube Bestie project and options for different people. And I was like, this is one that I am, if I was making a 5-star prediction video right now, this would be up there. Yet it's also incredibly out of my comfort zone. I don't read a lot of sci-fi, and so I'm so excited to potentially pick up one that I think I'm gonna absolutely adore. And the final audiobook that I'm adding to this TBR is The Empress of Sultan Fortune by Nghi. This is another BookTube Bestie project one, but it's also handy because after having chunkers like Middle Game on this audiobook TBR, it'd be nice to have a novella on there, as this is going to be a less than 2-hour read, because the audiobook is just over 2 hours and I won't be listening to it at the slowest pace. So it'll probably be like an 1.5 hour read max, which will be just what I need this month of all months. So this is described as Atwood meets classic Asian period drama. I've heard great things about the audiobook specifically, so I'm excited to be listening to it, as it's a story within a story. So I think this is going to be absolutely fantastic too. I am hoping that despite being incredibly busy in May and learning to juggle life with reading again, I'm hoping that it's going to be an excellent reading month, especially if, at worst case, especially if all I do is listen to these audiobooks while cleaning my house on my days off and going to and from work. If that's all I do, that'll be fantastic, because these audiobooks sound phenomenal. I think I'm going to be in for an excellent reading month. Please let me know if you've read any of these and whether you think I'm going to like them in the comments down below. Also, let me know what you're planning to read or listen to in May. I would love to have a little nosy, since I'm so behind on my BookTube watch list. I'll probably get to your own TBRs in about 6 months' time. I'll be there eventually, I promise. But thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe by clicking the image of me if you want to see more book reviews and other bookish content from me, and I will see you soon. Bye bye.